Welcome back to Andertons TV.
Hello, everybody.
Mr. Pete.
Mr. Lee.
What's your plan B?
What's my plan B? Well,
About 4 weeks ago, I was speaking to a customer who owned a premium brand multi-effects modeling thing.
Yep.
I shan't say which one. I'll be honest with you. We're going to talk about products going wrong, right? And every brand at some point has a product that goes wrong.
Yep.
And they had one of these products, and they were in a band, and they had a set list programmed in, and it was one of those classic things where it's, oh yeah, you know, this song has this preset, and this song has this preset, blah, blah, blah. And the day before a gig, I don't think it was a particularly massive gig, but it was a paid gig, day before, the product froze. He contacted the technical support for that company.
Yeah.
They just went, there's no reset here, it's just, you just have to return it.
Yeah.
And then there's some hard reset thing that can only be done back at the thing and blah.
Yeah.
So he's like, what do I do?
What's going to happen to me?
I'm like, well,
my gig.
You know, potentially we could try and get you another one in time for tomorrow, but then I was thinking, what if it froze on the day, you know, like, and there was no time.
And if you hadn't backed it up and all that different
Exactly,
stuff.
if you hadn't backed it up. And so it sort of gave me this idea for a video of just going, well, what is your plan B? You know, more and more guitar players are leaving traditional, you know, and I'm not necessarily saying this stuff is any more reliable, but it's certainly a heck of a lot easier to find and borrow one.
Yeah.
But like, what is your plan B if you've gone down that sort of digital route?
Because you absolutely need to have it.
Yeah, so I mean, first and foremost, the idea of a product going wrong is not exclusive to digital.
No,
right?
no.
I mean,
amp goes wrong. I've had that amp go wrong, you know, on tours, and I always have two amps with me, man.
But I think with amplifiers, there's part of me going, guitar players could reasonably have, they might have a backup at home anyway, or they might have a friend that's got an amplifier that they can lend. Or, you know, if it's a tube amplifier, it might just be a simple tube exchange and things have gone right. I sort of feel particularly if you've got a digital setup where you've programmed your, you know, maybe you're using 25 different presets or even 10 different presets during the gig. What is your plan B?
Yeah.
Have you even thought about it? Because this guy that I was speaking to hadn't thought about it, and it was a problem. So you've been pro before, Mr. Pete, and you've toured with both backline and multi-effects.
Yes, I toured with multi-effects, the Boss, sorry, not the Boss, the Pod, Line 6 Pod, Floor Pod, or whatever it was. And I had a backup with me the same, and it was just programmed similarly.
So
both of them.
So if you were using amps, you just had a spare amp.
Yeah, there's always a spare head.
Your pedal boards are so, you know, let's be fair, there's only two things still surviving a nuclear holocaust, right? It's pedal boards and cockroaches.
Yeah.
So I think
it's never gone wrong. I've never had a pedal. One time there was a switch on a T-Rex pedal that I think I stepped on, you know, when in a little heat at the moment, and I stepped on it and the switch died. Otherwise, I've never had any problems.
So we're sort of assuming that pedal boards are pretty bulletproof, reliable. Yeah. But when you were touring, you had a pod floorboard and another pod floorboard.
Exactly the same. And I also had an amp and a pedal board set up with me.
So you almost had like, you could fail twice almost and still be okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I never used the other floor pod. That was bulletproof.
Yeah. Now, every behind the scenes sort of rig rundown thing that I've ever done where you're going to see a band that's playing, you know, theatres and arenas and stuff like that. 1,000,000% there's always a B rig that's exactly the same as the A rig.
Yeah.
And there's a guitar technician who knows exactly what to do if the A rig fails. But most people watching this, I'm sure, are just going, I don't have that. I don't have a B rig or a tech or whatever. So what do you have?
When I gig, if I do a gig like a party gig or whatever, birthday party, I don't necessarily take an extra head with me. I'm just thinking, why do I need to do it? I just risk it.
Yeah. So this.
Even though I have
the idea behind this is
I just risk it.
I think just want you guys to think about it. What is your plan B? And your best plan B, Pete said before with the pod, just have another version of what you use.
It's expensive, doesn't it? If you have a QC or something.
If you have a big Kemper, maybe have a Kemper player programmed up, ready to go.
Yeah.
If you have a quad Cortex, have a second quad Cortex. Maybe even a nano Cortex might just get you through it. But have a plan B.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a plan B, or you can't afford to replicate your A rig, because let's be fair, you know, if you've got a Kemper or a QC or whatever, you're 1,500 quid, you know, you might not want to justify another 1,500 quid just for a B rig. We picked out 3 things. These are by no means the only viable choices.
No.
They're just 3 choices that we like, and they kind of fitted the brief, and they're affordable, and they're probably also at the more reliable end. So we sort of went, what if we just let's not have another multi-effects unit as our backup? Because can you imagine, like, I've got the backup, you plug it in and you've not used it for a year, and the first thing it says is firmware update available. It's like, enter Wi-Fi pass. It's like, "Nah!"
And that is the problem as well, isn't it?
So we've kind of tried to go for things that they've got a very reliable track record. They're very simple. There's not going to be a firmware update that stops you using it. So that's these 3 devices here. So we've got a Boss IR2, a TC Electronic Deluxe 65, and a DSM Simplifier Mark II. And then we've just got a pedal, because actually, and we'll see, if you can't get like a clean and a drive sound from here, what are you going to do? You know, we're all assuming that at some point in your gig you're going to want a clean sound and a drive sound. So
yeah, that's where these are good, because you get 2.
Yeah, so each of these 3 pedals will have had a proper deep dive video on the Andertons channel, and you'll be able to find links to those videos below.
Yeah,
but we're just going to literally... This is just designed to be a thought provoker. Yeah. I really want to read the comments on here.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your plan B?
What is your plan B?
Now, the IR2, this came out in 2023, and for some bizarre reason, YouTube decided that our video should trend. So this has had something like a million views or something mental. I don't know why.
That was
IR2 is about 8 or 9 different amp models in one, with some simple EQ, reverb, gain and level control. And it has a green channel, which is whatever setting you happen to be on when you've dialed it in, and a red channel, which is whatever setting you happen to last dial in on
all
that
automatically saved.
This could even run on a battery. So I mean, of all of them here, you've got the reliability of Boss. You've got the fact that it doesn't even need a power supply if push comes to shove.
I wonder how long that's going to last the battery in here.
A gig, I would hope. And then what is quite nice, again, you've got your 2 channels, it's stereo out.
Yeah.
You might decide that on any of these, you integrate this into a pedal board to be your B rig. But in my head, I'm just going, no, this is just in your gig bag front pocket.
Because most people that have those kind of multi-effects, they don't have pedal boards.
Yeah,
There's all in there, right?
So my gut feeling is that in your gig bag is either this on its own or this with your favourite drive pedal. So we've just got this set on its twin sound when it's green, and I think it's its crunch sound when it's red. We're going stereo straight into our DI. So of course, actually we should say that's part of the plan B, right?
Yeah.
We now are just plugging straight into the PA. We're assuming that your band has a PA and that it works.
Do you need to have, sorry to interrupt, do you need to have a DI box with one of those? If you're not...
Possibly. If you're running long cables, it might be a bad idea to have a DI box. And of course, you've got to consider how are you going to hear yourself, because you're now reliant on your band's monitoring. But you may have already been reliant on the monitoring to hear your digital unit. Anyway, I think this sounds good. So we're not going to go through all the sounds. If you think, oh, that'll work for me, go and check the video in the links below where we do a bit more of an in-depth one.
There's a clean sound and there's a solo sound, boom.
I agree, and they're different levels as well, so you could have the solo sound dialed in. I suppose you'll know yourself, and I'm thinking of players like Rabir now who'll have presets that have pitch shifting in there to detune. Of course, if that's your rig, then your plan B has really got to be a replica of your plan A. But if if you're sitting there, you're in a wedding band, you're just going to bash through,
Mustang
30 or 40 covers that actually, no one's going to really know that you haven't quite dialed in the money for nothing tone, as long as you've just got a bit of overdrive and you play the chords right,
you'll be all right. You put a little more drive on it, man,
how does this like? And of course, if you've got a pedal with it, you know, you've almost got like 4 sounds.
Yeah,
you know. So here we go. For your Batman, section. So look,
tribute.
IR2.
That's cool.
100%
super cool pedal.
Super viable Plan B.
Absolutely.
I will just say on this for people that perhaps pretty sure you're all going to be familiar with this, right? But every single one of these products here has the speaker emulation technology in it, meaning you can just plug straight into your PA and it'll still sound like a guitar amplifier. Don't forget, a normal drive pedal wouldn't normally have that, so doesn't sound terribly pleasant just straight into a PA. However, and we have told this story before, Jay, who runs our stock room at the store, he was in the bloody Middle East on a really well-paid New Year's Eve gig, and during setting up, somebody ran a truck, like a trolley truck over the power supply for his quad Cortex, broke the power supply. And that was like, oh, I can't use that's it. So, and his Plan B doesn't sound great. His Plan B was a 40 quid Tone City overdrive pedal with no speaker emulation, straight into the PA and just wing it, which he did.
Yep.
And he still got paid, and I'm pretty sure the audience probably never even noticed.
No clue.
But yeah, he did personally. You know, he was saying it was the worst gig of his whole life, as he just knew he sounded awful the whole gig, but no one cared. Anyway, IR2, let's plug in. So this is the middle price of the 3 here. So the TC is close to £100, it's maybe 120. This is more like 170. The Simplifier is the dearest, we're up to 300 here, which might be a little bit unnecessary, but look, you decide. Right, let's plug into the Combo Deluxe. So the Ampworks from TC is part of a series of pedals that each are designed to sound like a certain amplifier. So actually you might go, oh, I love the look of this format, but actually my basic amp, I'd rather it was a Marshall or a Vox or whatever. So we've chosen the Fender one. It works quite similarly to the IR2 in that there are 2 channels and it just remembers what you last dialed in, which is pretty cool. However, unlike the IR2, it's only trying to sound like one kind of amplifier. There's not like multiple amps. But you know what? Hey. For a Fender amplifier with an overdrive pedal, that's like 90% of guitar players anyway. Yeah. So here is our clean sound. The reverb again is built into the pedal.
You know, it sounds much better than Remember.
I think this Fender sound is better than this Fender sound. Yeah. It's just that there's more different amps in this one.
Is that the reverb? It's nice as well.
It's supposed to be a convolution reverb. Convalescence. It's supposed to be like a proper IR reverb. So.
And the IR is an official greenback Celestion.
Yeah. Good one.
It's smiling. It sounds great, man.
We're done, honestly. Right? We're ready to do the gig.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people after they go Plan B never go back to Plan A. It's just like, it's so simple.
You That's like life, isn't it?
Yeah, you could dump a pedal over the top, you know.
That sounds really nice, actually.
Yeah, and again, both of these units here, it takes a little bit of time to actually get your head around how simple this is. But let's say I'm on the green channel and I dial in and I go, right, that's the sound that I like. It just remembers that. And then I'm on the red channel and I go, actually, I want a bit more gain here and a bit less reverb and da-da-da. And then it's like, and then it goes, right, I'll remember that. You don't save anything and that's it. So green, it remembered what we had before. Red, it remembers. And that's basically the same as how both of these two work, which is, I think, why we like them so much. I agree.
There you go. Sounds great with the pedal as well.
And that's the most affordable one of the three.
100 quid?
That's a super viable plan B. It doesn't appear to be stereo. I think it's just mono, and it won't work on a battery, so you will have to have a
power supply
9-volt power supply. But yeah, great option. Should we go to the Simplifier?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's make it Simplifier.
So the last one is the DSM Humboldt Simplifier Mark II. It's a little bit different, and the reason we chose it is because it is a little bit different.
Yeah.
So its biggest differential is there's no digital circuitry in here at all, other than the digital reverb.
Yeah.
So the preamp tones, the power amp tones, the EQ, the speaker emulation, everything is analog. Now, not only is that potentially an interesting reliability conversation, does that make this the most reliable? Because there's no chip to fail or anything like that. Maybe. There's also, I think, whenever we've done the demonstrations with these, there's also a sense that you feel connected to it slightly differently.
Yeah.
I suppose ultimately, if your main rig is digital and this is your plan B, you're probably not going to feel that. But maybe if your main rig is guitar amp based and actually you want sort of your plan B to really have that tiny nuance that feels slightly different. DSM maybe.
Whatever you do, you're going to have to, there's compromises with the plan B rig, unless it's exactly the same as the one you have.
So the regular Simplifier, this one has no channel switching. So there's you choose using these switches here whether you want it to sound Fendery, Marshally or Voxy, but that's it. Once it's dialed in, that's your sound. The Simplifier X, which is the upgraded version of this, or the bigger version of this, is a 2-channel foot switchable version of this. So maybe if you're thinking, I have to have some element of channel switching on there for my plan B, look at the Simplifier X. But I think this sounds fantastic. The reverb's built in. Again, if you wanted this as part of maybe a more integrated pedal board, it's got some quite cool features with sends and returns.
And you got XLR cables out from it as well.
So you don't need the DI box. You're absolutely right. It's stereo.
Has it got effects loop on it?
Yep. Absolutely.
Return, effects loop, send. Reverb on the side.
It's even got, stereo effects. Although again,
that little box, man.
For a plan B, this is one of those crossover products. Maybe this is your plan A, and you just have another one for plan B. But let's have a listen to this. I think this sounds great.
Sounds lovely.
I do really like that.
Yeah, it's got a really nice feel to it as well, but everything now feels fine. Good. It's, you know what I mean, these days.
So, as I say, I've set that to the Fender setting. We could elect to make it Marshally or Voxy, and you'll see us go through all of that in the video where we feature this if you go below. But, dump a pedal over the top.
Takes pedals really well.
That is a 3-channel, clean, rhythm, lead.
Yeah, boom, done.
Fantastic plan B.
Yeah.
Like I say, this isn't a shootout. This is just 3.
There's lots of them, isn't there?
But just think about it. That's all I wanted you to do. I really did. I finished speaking to this guy and just thought, I'm going right back to the beginning now, and he had his multi-effects thing, and it was a bit like, what a bummer. I think everybody just walks around assuming their gear's going to work at every gig, and it's probably a dangerous assumption.
It is.
Especially again now, who wants that? You've seen all the memes, haven't you? You've just plugged your thing in, you got 1,000 people in the audience like that. Firmware update required, or whatever it is. It's just like,
or you spill something in it because it's all in one. If somebody kicks over a beer in your, or something, or somebody's drunk up on stage and step on it or whatever.
There you are. That's it. End of the video. You have been warned. You need a plan B.
You need a plan B.
These 3 are good, but there are many more. Anyway, that's it.
That's it.
See you later.